Everyone has something that they can offer and that they can give.
Friends, welcome to Business Briefs, where we have bite-sized business and legal tips and strategies for you in a daily dose of it as well. I have the most amazing coach, educator, mentor, speaker, writer with me today, Shaundra Williams. She is such a joy to speak to. We were talking about energies and, having conversations and people's reality coming out just before this. I'm like, why am I not pressed? Why am I not recording? It was amazing. She is awesome. I had the opportunity to hear from her in the beginning of the year, 2023. And she really filled my cup up with so much purpose and reminders of self-love and also just, love from God or whoever you believe to be God, whatever. And so, but yeah, welcome to Business Brief, Shaundra. I am so happy to have you with us today.
So glad to be here. Thank you so much for the invitation.
Yeah. I remember when I was sitting right next to you at the table and I was like, oh, I really didn't know you at that point. But when you went on that stage, I was like, I need to know her immediately. You have a magnetic, dynamic personality. And truly, regardless of whatever has gone on in your life, because no one's life is perfect, things happen.
Right.
Some form of trauma, setbacks, pain, but you exude joy. And I love that.
Well, thank you. And we do, all of our lives has its own bucket of mess. And mine, I'm no different than anyone else over the years. I've had my buckets of mess, but I have learned to deal with those moments by turning that mess into messages because it never fails. We're women, we are, beings, and we all go through similar things in life. So if we just keep our mess to ourselves and don't find the message in it, it kind of robs another woman of, the knowing that she can get through that or she can work through that as well. So yeah, all of our lives has its stuff. My life is no different. I think the difference for me may be that I really seek to find the message in all of the mess and share it out. And that's what helps me move from one point to the other.
Yeah, I love that. Finding the messages from the mess.
Yes.
I think. And it really correlates with what we were literally just talking right before we press record. And that is that everything happens for a reason. And, we were just talking about not wasting your energy on the why forward, because eventually that why shows up, you out. And I've realized that the more I think about life in that perspective and I have that mindset, the more I see it. I see this.
Yeah. And you just said a word that brings perspective to everything, and that is mindset. How you approach situations is directly related to how you think about yourself and situations of the past. We operate in our present situations based on experience from past situations, right? So our mindset has to be in a place where a lifestyle of, and I'll use myself for an example, I try to have a lifestyle of positive thinking. Like it drives some of my girlfriends, crazy because I really try to come to situations with the mindset that all of this, good or bad, in this moment is going to work to my good. Like there's something good coming out of this. And I wrote down the quote that you gave, not wasting my energy on the why and just moving forward. We give so much time to trying to understand when some things are just not for you to understand. It's not made to be understood. It is just for you to be in the now of it and move forward. And if we embrace that and can understand that, it takes the sting out of a lot of things that we deal with. A lot of our traumas and our indecisiveness and our back and forth and is why is this happening to me? Why am I here? What did I do to deserve this? When it's life.
Mm,
It's life, and we're not going to always understand the why, and it might not come until years down the line.
yeah.
But just know that something in that moment is coming together for my good. And
Yeah.
that helps you push beyond that. So yeah, I wrote that down. The first time I'll give you credit. Like because I'm going to use it probably Sunday at my event. I'm going to say that and I'll give you credit. But after that, it's all me. It's mine.
I love it. Shaundra, this was a great precursor to who are you? What do you do? And, like all that stuff. What is your business all about?
Well, my business is I'm in the business of motivating, inspiring, and encouraging individuals to move forward. I develop people. And I develop people by helping them understand their purpose, why they are here. Like everyone is created with a purpose. And once you understand that, it will make your life make sense. One of the things that hold us back from that is fear. And I talk about that all of the time is that if we can move beyond fear, you will experience your greatest success. So I'm a speaker, I'm a writer, I'm a cheerleader. I'm the one that's in everybody's corner to say, girl, you got this. Let's go. Let's
Yeah.
get it. You got it. And I absolutely love it. I have been coaching for 20 years, right at 20 years. And I do it in the corporate space as a workforce development coach. I've worked in the vocational trade school industry now for almost 20 years. And, when I boil down what I do is I take people and I develop them and help them move towards their ultimate goal. That's what I've been doing forever. I didn't quite know how to put it in words. I would always say I help people with their resume and then I go meet with employers to hire these people. And when I stopped to think about it back in 2018, I'm like, I develop people. Like that is what I do. I was sitting in a sales seminar and I realized that I develop people. I take what's there, I see beyond that point, help them execute a new plan and move forward. And that's what coaching is. So in 2018, I made this my own business. I entered, a scope of entrepreneurship as a coach, became a certified coach, life coach. And speaking is what I've always done. I say this is a product of my dad, my parents' upbringing, that they told us that if you can speak properly, people will listen to what you have to say. Like if you if you can articulate and communicate verbally, people will listen to what you have to say. And they raised us that way to be readers and to speak well and to speak knowledgeably. My mom would not talk to you if you came to her with incorrect grammar or you said something the wrong way. Literally, she would ignore that you were even standing there. So speaking is something I've always done. My parents are pastors, so that was a part of it as well. We always were put up. If there was no one else there, we were always there, me and my brothers.
Yeah.
So we're all speakers. So that's who I am and that's what I do. My business is Ruby's Global Coaching and Consulting. So I coach, develop individuals and consulting with organizations to help them develop their talent for retention management.
Goodness, I love that you say develop because that is what we are doing. We're developing ourselves for the next thing, next phase, next stage, whatever the next thing is in life. And essentially that's what's going on. So, I'm always wondering, like, how did you find, and I guess you were coming from corporate doing that as well. And so at which point were you like, okay, I need to make this my own business? And there's a bigger need than just this corporate need right now. How did you find that?
I found myself getting bored with my corporate job only. I worked really hard to be promoted. I put in a lot of time, a lot of hours, a lot of mentoring, and I had ascended to a VP role with a school group, with an organization. And I remember sitting in the conference room one day and I just thought, I'm tired of, showing up at the end of every year to do 9 box and assess talent and, help the organization build leaders. Like I can do this for myself and I can do this on my own. And that was the seed that was planted to make me even consider entrepreneurship, is that if a corporate organization will pay me a salary to do this for them, there are people outside of this organization that need the same thing. So that's where I started kind of, how do I make this a Shaundra thing and not just something that I do for this organization?
Yeah. And then when you made it a Shaundra thing, what was that looking like? Was it easy? Was it an easy transition, or was
The
it
scariest thing ever.
it
I,
usually
quick,
is?
I quickly realized that that organization had a captive audience. Like
Yes.
those
You
people,
had an audience there already.
those people had to be there because they were employed by that organization, or they had to be there because they were a student and they were going to the next point. It was a requirement to work with a job developer,
Yeah, yeah.
workforce development professional to complete the program. So I quickly realized that these people have to be here. In entrepreneurship, I have to go find the people to be here and they have to want what I have. So I quickly realized that people don't show up just because Shaundra said, "Hey, I'm over here doing this."
Yeah.
They're not just showing up. So that was a huge okay moment.
That's so funny. That it takes me back to the time when my child, who was probably 9 at the time or 8, and she said, "Mommy, just because you start a website doesn't mean people are going to come to it." And I'm like, "What? Is that like really?" It's like, how do
Such
you
a revelation,
I
right?
didn't know that?
It is such a revelation. It's such a stinging one as well. I'm like,
So bad.
oh, yeah, it takes more than me just showing up on Facebook and say, "Hey, I'm a coach." People didn't even know what that was. Like they're like, "Do you coach basketball? Do you coach?" It's like, "What do you coach?"
Oh my gosh, that is so funny. And I have to agree with your mom. Grammar is everything. It
Mhm.
burns me. I'm going to say an unpopular opinion perhaps. I don't care, but it burns me when in school teachers don't speak proper English. I cannot
Yeah,
handle it for my life. I'm like,
yeah,
why are we doing this?
yeah. I'm there with you. I'm
Grammar.
there
I
with
don't
you.
mean accent. I don't mean any of that stuff.
Mm-mm.
That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about grammar.
Yes, and it's
Like,
the basic element of communication is proper grammar.
I'm like, I can't. I mean, ugh, okay, I said it. I might get some backlash on this, but whatever.
It's okay. I'm with you. I'm with you. I feel you, and I agree. I agree. My mom's thing was got, G-O-T. She couldn't stand the word. She's like, "You don't got, you have." And even now to this day, when I hear someone say got, I'm like, "Who said that?" Like, no, that's not the way that word works.
Luckily, growing up in school, we had a very good grammar teacher, and so she
Mhm.
really was like instilling it in us.
Yeah. My
Anyways,
mom, she must have been friends with my mom.
yeah, I'm okay now. I'm done with the grammar soapbox, but tell me, Chandra. So now that you're in the space of coaching
Hmm.
and motivation, I know you have that gift. And I also remember when you were on that stage, you said you've been given a gift to share
Hmm.
with others so that they can take your gift also. It's not to keep it to yourself.
Absolutely.
How do we share our gifts when we are scared?
First, you have to believe in the gift that you have. It all starts with you. If I did not believe I had the ability to speak to audiences and move them forward, if I didn't believe that about myself, it would not translate to other people. So the first thing is that you have to believe that what you have is valuable to everyone that will receive it, no matter what it is. If you are a candle maker, if you are a cook, a chef, if you don't believe in yourself, no one else will. No one else will believe that. And women, I think we have a hard time with that concept because we want to downplay who we are and what we have. Good old imposter syndrome shows up to tell us that, "No, girl, that's not who you are. Nobody's showing up to listen to you. You're not all that." But when you get beyond that, and fear is right there next to imposter syndrome, that fear sets in to say, "You know what? You start believing that I'm not really that good. I'm not really that well spoken. No one's going to show up to hear me or to do what I am asking them to do." If you stop there, then you have robbed the next person of experiencing who you are, the genuine, to your core, what you were created to do. And the mess of your life is about you, but it is the rescue for other people.
Mm-hmm.
And I believe that. I believe that to the core of my being.
Mm-hmm.
And because I believe that to the core of my being, then everything I say and do out of that accomplishes the mission or accomplishes what it was supposed to.
Wow.
So, to the core of your being, you have to first believe that you are whatever you know that you are.
Hmm.
Yeah. It starts with you.
Okay. I'm going to kind of dig a little bit deeper into that and maybe
Okay.
rewind a little bit. Is there are people who genuinely believe
Mm-hmm.
that they don't have any gifts,
Mm-hmm. Mm.
genuinely believe that there's nothing good that they can give to others. And it breaks my heart when I hear people say that because I'm like, and then I like, I sit down and like, I'll have like a deeper conversation with them about all the stuff
Mm-hmm.
that they do. And
Mm-hmm.
maybe,
Mm-hmm.
but for that little group of people or big group of people, how do you even start scraping that? Even if it's a self,
Mm-hmm.
work on it. Like I'm at home listening to this podcast.
Mm-hmm.
If I need that person to understand how to dig a little bit deeper and figure out their gifts, how would they do that?
That makes me sad also. But the first question that I ask is, what would you do if no one paid you to do it? How would you show up in the world if no one paid you to do it? What sets your soul on fire? What can you wake up out of your sleep? If I woke you up out of your sleep, what could you wake up and do and find joy
Yeah.
in it? And we start there. And that makes people think, what? Let me think about what would I do if I woke you up out of your sleep, if I walked into your room and I said, hey, let's do the one thing that sets your soul on fire, what would that be?
Yeah.
If I asked you to do something and I didn't have a budget to pay you to do it, what would you still show up and give?
Yeah.
And in those spaces, you start. It's not the end. It's just the start of the thought of the conversation. But usually, you can start to get an idea of where your purpose lies in somewhere in what you would do if no one paid you to do it.
Mm.
And for me, I could wake up and talk to you about overcoming fear. If no one paid me to do it, I
Mm-hmm.
could show up and do it. If you woke me up out of a deep sleep and asked me what's the number one key to overcoming fear, I can start talking to you about acknowledgement.
Mm-hmm.
It's just what I love to do. So for that person that thinks I don't have anything, ugh, it makes me shiver to say that because you do have something. You just need to sit with yourself to figure out what it is. And if you can't get there on your own, have the courage to reach out to someone that can help you get there. That's what coaches do.
Yeah.
They help you discover or they help you realize those things that you can't realize on your own because the blind spots of life are preventing you from seeing it. So reach out and find someone that can help you. But everyone has something that they can offer and that they can give.
Cannot agree more with you. And
Mm-hmm.
the person, if coach is not the person for you for whatever reason, there might be a core group of people that you
Yeah.
trust in, believe in, confide in, you
Yeah.
know that they're good advisors.
Mm-hmm.
Like ask them, hey,
Yeah.
what do you think is like, what are some strengths that you see in me? I
Yeah.
kind of think and stuff. And even as people who might see, like even as me, I might see strengths in myself.
Mm-hmm.
It's amazing when someone says it to me though.
Absolutely.
Because now I know
Absolutely.
it's like affirming from outside
Yeah.
that this is
Yeah.
what's going on.
Yeah. I start the year with asking a question on social media.
Mm-hmm.
Who do you think I am and what do you think I do?
Mm. Oh, what
What
a
am I good at? Yeah.
yeah.
Who do you think I am and what do you think I do?
Yeah.
And I start my year with that because that frames programs or whatever I'm going to be doing during the year, what my marketing content is going to look like, what my social media presence is going to look like.
Yeah.
Because if you can't tell who I am and what I do, then that means I need to work on making that message a little bit more clear,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
Same thing with someone that is trying to discover who they are and what they should do. Ask your core people, ask the 5 closest people to you.
Mm.
Put it out there on social media. What am I good at? What do you think I do well?
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes it takes some thick skin to do that.
It
but
does.
be but brace yourself for what's going to come and the responses to that. But the answer lies somewhere in that.
Yeah. And speaking of the five core people, if the five core people are not what you're envisioning yourself to be later on in the future,
Yeah, you need to ditch them.
you need a new five core people.
There's a statistic. You're the average of the five closest people to you.
Totally.
And I say, girl, get your circle right. It's one of my little mantras that I carry with me. I'm like, girl, get your circle right. Because if you can't look at the five closest people to you and find elevation
Yeah.
in those people for your life, and I know everybody's not going to be where you want to go or whatever, but your success or your failure lies in who you have surrounded yourself with. So you have to surround yourself with people that elevate you or push you to get to the next level of whoever you are.
Goodness, completely 100% agree with this.
Yeah.
And it's great. Like I've been teaching my kids this too, because you're at the ripe old time of middle school. That's when stuff starts happening. And you're like, okay, but definitely a great skill set to have and to learn. The earlier, the better. And those five core people don't have to be doing exactly what you're doing in life. They're just resembling a life that you might want to have or embody certain qualities.
Yes, absolutely.
Values. So
yeah. You have to see some part of yourself in them.
Yeah, absolutely. So speaking of overcoming fear, I know that you're like, I can talk about that in my sleep. So tell me about it.
So when we start to talk about fear, I always tell people will say, well, I'm not afraid of something. Yeah, everybody's afraid of something. And I don't mean fear as in phobias. I mean fear as in a abstract concept that keeps you from moving forward. Especially when we come to business owners, entrepreneurship. What is the thought that comes to your mind that stops you from moving forward? Fear puts your feet in concrete. And it holds you in one place and it doesn't allow you to do anything else. So what creates cinder blocks on your feet when we start to talk about what you're trying to accomplish? Okay, then there lies fear. So the first step to overcoming that is acknowledging it. Just acknowledge that it exists and stop ignoring it. And once you acknowledge that it exists, it takes power from it. And now we can start to build a plan to move beyond it. So when I start talking about fear to people, oh, I'm not afraid of something. Yeah, there's something that keeps you from being your best self. If you're not your best self today, there's something that's keeping you from being that best self. What is it? And let's start tearing down those walls. My favorite book is the Bible. There's 365 connotations of fear. That means that there is an instance every day of the year that you can wake up with the emotion of fear that is keeping you from moving forward. So let's deal with it and learn how to move, even if fear is still there. Like you might get over one level of it and at the next level develops another fear. Okay, well, then at that level, we just pull back on the experiences of the past. We use that to build courage and confidence and move forward. It's one of those things that you learn at one time and it becomes part of your lifestyle. It's like riding a bike. Once you know how to do it, you just always know how to do it, right? So once we build a lifestyle of living on the other side of fear or living beyond fear, that's where we see our greatest success.
Gosh, you're absolutely right. And you're absolutely, because there's a lot of times when there'll be people just saying, well, I've overcome fear now. I don't have any more fear. But no, it manifests itself in different ways.
It absolutely does.
But being able to take steps beyond it helps you manage it better the next time it comes.
Absolutely.
Time is diffused. Less, more and more it's diffused every time it comes towards you.
Yeah. And it will continue to come up. I mean, it's just part of life that it happens. And you just have to be able to pull back on what I used the last time and move beyond it this time, because you can live in the presence of fear and you can live beyond it. It is possible. It is possible to do it afraid. Like I'm sitting in an office space right now that this morning I had to talk to myself real good about getting out of the car and coming into this building to do what I needed to do today because it's new. And I felt, like, ooh, imposter syndrome. Shaundra, can you really do all that you told them you could do? And, so there's that fear of, oh my gosh, am I going to be able to live up to what I told them I could do when we were just having phone consultations? Well, then I pull back on past experiences of, yes, you can do this. Yes, you got this. You have the wisdom, you have the knowledge, you have the ability to do it because you've done it before. Do the same thing you did the last time. And it's something about that helped me get out of the car this morning and walk in the building to do what I know that I know how to do. Yeah.
And that's powerful because there are days when all of us don't want to
Mm-hmm.
have that day, or
Mm-hmm.
we have to. There's no option to just
Yeah.
sit back because there's just no option at that time.
Yeah.
But, just knowing that you've done it before. And my coach, Lonnie, always, who I know you
Oh,
know too,
she's so good. I love Lonnie.
and she
Love
always says
Lonnie.
this one thing to me. She goes, "You have fought harder battles than the one that you're fighting today."
Absolutely.
And she's like, "You've overcome them. You are seeing them far away from you now."
Mm-hmm.
At it and saying bye
Mm-hmm.
bye. And that's great. Like, right? You remember the hardest battle that you've had so
Yeah.
far, and you're
Yeah.
beyond it. You're not just
Right.
beyond it, you're way beyond it.
Yeah. You've overcome all of your hardest days at this point because you're still here.
You're still here. Yeah.
Yeah.
And not to say others won't come, but you know
Yeah.
that you have
Yeah.
that resilience and you have what it is that you need at that time to
Yeah.
overcome that.
Absolutely.
And so it's really powerful to know that you've gone through the motions. The emotions will still come, the waves are still coming, but you're able to better navigate yourself through it and manage it. And so that
Absolutely.
gets me to this part where I always ask my guests, what is your anchor?
Oh, my anchor, what anchors me to move forward? My anchor is God, it's Christ. It really is. It's his word. I look at the Bible as a book of principles, not a book of laws or regulations, but it is a book of principles. And if I live out those principles, my life will be the better for it. So everything always starts there with me. The next thing after that, then I'm anchored in experiences of what I know that I know. My life has been woo-wee. Like I said earlier, everybody has a bucket of mess, and my mess is no worse or better or bigger than anyone else's, but it's mine and I've worked through it.
Yeah.
So that is what anchors me. And Shaundra, you have overcome some real big stuff,
Yeah.
some amazingly big stuff. And if you overcame that, then this is nothing. You got this. So I always come back to things, God's word and past experiences that I've lived through to help me, okay, just kind of calm myself so that I can go through whatever is next.
Love it. I love
Yeah.
that. For those that are listening, what is the best way to connect with you?
Oh, the best way is going to be social media. I can be found on social media at Shaundra Dineen, and that's Dineen. Or you can follow my business page, and it's Coach Shaun D Speaks on Instagram and Facebook.
I'm going to have all of the links on our show notes.
Fantastic.
So and connect with you. It has been such a pleasure to speak to you.
Thank you.
Through the computer, have felt all the energy. I know that everyone will be so motivated, and you have definitely shared your gift today with us.
Well, thank you for having me.
Through the YouTube channel, that gift will be shared with so many more. And so thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Have a good day.
You too.